Hello everyone. Next, I'm going to teach you to know a little bit better of the understanding the setting of last week's sermon of July 13th. Amos lived during the middle of the 8th century when Uzziah ruled Judah and Jeroboam II ruled over Israel. During Jeroboam's reign, Israel experienced great conquest and prosperity and great wickedness. The country had spiraled into a society corrupt nation with barely a trace of Judaism left. Amos's name probably comes from a root word that means lift a load. The noun form of the term may mean burden bearer. Burden bearer. What we know about Amos is only what we read in the book that bears his name. He was born in Tekoa, a town in the hill country of Judah, near Jerusalem, around 20 miles west of the Dead Sea. However, he was called to preach his message in Israel. Amos is considered among the greatest of the prophets, partly because he was the first whose prophecies were compiled into a single book. Amos was not a professional prophet, but he spoke out against self-proclaimed so-called prophets who sold their services and prophesied whatever their benefactors liked to hear. Before God called him as a prophet, it was as sheep breeder and a herdsman who took care of the sycamore fig trees. Amos never referred to the Lord as the God of Israel, a common term at the time. He always called him Yahweh, or the God of hosts, perhaps to emphasize God is creator of all, not just Israel. Amos was disliked by many. Amaziah, the priest in Israel, asked the king to order Amos to leave and return to Judah. Amos responded with a blistering curse on Amaziah, his wife, and his children. Amos was straightforward and fearless in his predictions of doom, not only for Israel and Judah, but also for the surrounding nations. He was a fiery outsider who confronted the power structure about how the rich oppressed the poor, crushed the needy, used expensive oils as lotions, lived in elaborate houses, and used a corrupt legal system to inflict injustice on the weak. He even included corrupt religious leaders in his declarations. The prosperity of Amos's day was considered a demonstration of God's favor. Thus, the people thought their routine religious celebrations were pleasing to God. But God's words through Amos indicated how much God despised their feasts and solemn assemblies, their burnt and grain offerings, and the noise of their songs. In essence, God hated the motions of worship when the people did not abide by the spirit of his ways. Over and over, Amos referred to the poor, needy, and oppressed, and he made it clear that God stood in firm opposition to and would judge the evil treatment given these groups. Now, I'm going to teach you the key phrase of this sermon lesson of week of July 13th. And it is the remnant of Judah. Amos used the name Joseph for the northern kingdom. The remnant of Joseph refers to those who would be left after the destruction promised by God through the prophecy of Amos. A suggestion of hope remained for those who were left, but not for the whole kingdom.